Hello, I'm Jake Boudrot, Civic Journalist at Tell Community Television. This week on The Record, the provincial government announced funding for 2 local housing projects. After the announcement, Port Hawkesbury Mayor Brenda Chisholm-Beaton and Richmond Warden Lois Landry fielded questions from the media. According to a press release from the Department of Growth and Development, Lennox Place Limited is converting a commercial building at 818 Veterans Memorial Drive in Arichat to residential housing. The project will see the addition of 10 new housing units in the community, 9 of which will be affordable. The province said it will be providing $990,000 in forgivable funding for the project, which has a total price tag of about $2.1 million. DC Developments Inc. is constructing 40 new housing units, including 20 affordable units at 100 Reeve Street in Port Hawkesbury, the province confirmed. Total development costs for the project are approximately $7.82 million, with the province providing more than $2 million in forgivable funding through the Affordable Housing Development Program. According to the province, Brella Homes is managing rentals for DC Developments Inc. In 2024, 4 modular housing units purchased for a program that provided temporary housing to people displaced by wildfires were repurposed for healthcare and other skilled workers and their families in Port Hawkesbury, the province said, adding that all 4 units are now occupied.
Good morning, everyone. Bon matin tout le monde. Thank you very much for coming today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Colton LeBlanc, the Minister of Growth and Development for the province of Nova Scotia, also the MLA for Argyle, all the way to the other end of the province. But it's really a pleasure for me to be joining you in beautiful Port Hawkesbury, the gateway to Cape Breton. I always really appreciate the opportunity to join my colleagues in their respective communities, especially when we have good news to share. I'd say today is great news to share. And today is certainly that case. I do want to acknowledge some of our municipal colleagues, Amanda and Lois, that are here. I don't know if there's other municipal folks. Oh, I don't think we've met yet, but nice to meet you. I think we can all agree that the Strait region needs more affordable housing. And it is my strong belief that housing and economic growth and development go hand in hand. And that's why both are in my purview as Minister of Growth and Development. You can't attract doctors, paramedics, nurses, skilled trades people, teachers, people that want to call Nova Scotia home without having a safe and affordable place for them to call home. And likewise, you can't fuel growth in communities and create new opportunities for good paying jobs if residents can't find a place to call home. These are truly fundamental issues that impact all of our communities across Nova Scotia. And that's why we're doing everything in our control as a government, everything in our power to create even more housing, even faster, so that Nova Scotians and then our communities as well can thrive. And that's exactly what we're doing here today on Reeve Street with the guidance of our 5-year Action for Housing plan. I could speak at length about the connection between housing and economic growth because it's a real passion point for me. It's a passion point for our Premier and also a passion point for my colleague, Kyle. So when we first took office about 4 years ago, our government made a commitment to ensure as many Nova Scotians as possible have a safe and affordable place to call home. And since then, we've made hundreds of millions of dollars of investments from one end of the province to the other. And today, it's Port Hawkesbury's turn. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome my friend and my colleague, Kyle McCrory, the amazing MLA for Inverness, to the podium to tell us a little bit more why we're here today in Port Hawkesbury. Kyle.
Thank you, Minister LeBlanc. I'll try to be amazing.
Comes naturally.
And thank you, Jeremy. And thanks, everyone, for coming here today. Good morning. It's a privilege for me to be able to share some news with you today about this important investment in affordable housing. Access to affordable, good quality rental housing is strained across the province and the challenges are particularly great outside the urban core and here on Cape Breton Island. This government made housing a priority, as Minister LeBlanc said, and we're doing everything we can to create more affordable housing faster. We have a solid 5-year housing plan, and with each and every project, we take one more step towards helping to ensure that all Nova Scotians have access to a safe and affordable place to call home. Today, I have the pleasure of telling you about investments in 2 amazing housing projects here in Port Hawkesbury and Arichat that are truly helping to improve housing affordability for Cape Bretoners. On behalf of the province and Minister of Growth and Development, Colton LeBlanc, I am very pleased to announce an investment of more than $2.9 million that is supporting the creation of 50 new residential housing units in the Strait area, including 29 designated as affordable units. This includes $2 million in forgivable funding that we've provided through our Affordable Housing Development Program to help DC Developments create 40 brand new housing units here on Reeve Street, 20 of which will be affordable units. When the work here is complete, the development will feature a mix of studio and 1-bedroom apartments, including 4 barrier-free units. Situated where we are within walking distance of NSCC Strait campus, I know this project will play an important role in student housing. Jeremy Carroll with DC Developments is hosting us here today, so we'll hear more from him about the project in just a moment. I'm also very excited to tell you about another innovative project we're supporting a little further down the road in Arichat. Lennox Place is an excellent example of what you can do when you look at something differently. To most people, the property at 818 Veterans Memorial Drive was just another underused commercial building. And that may have been true until Rochelle, Denise, and Herman Sampson put their heads together and saw a new future for the building as residential housing. Today, their commercial conversion project is almost 70% complete. Once it's done, it will add 10 more 2-bedroom units, including 9 affordable housing units to the rental market in Almadam. As government, we're pleased to help support their vision by providing $900,000 in forgivable funding to help with the conversion. Bringing new affordable housing units to market is no easy feat. It takes great partnerships, vision, and dedication. And programs like the Affordable Housing Development Program can help. Once again, I would like to congratulate each and everyone involved in these projects for their commitment and drive to make them happen. A special thank you to Jeremy and his team for hosting us here today and giving the minister a warm Cape Breton welcome. As a Cape Bretoner and the MLA for Inverness, I'm thrilled to play a role in helping you bring these projects to light. They will be great additions to our community. When we work together, we can create more affordable housing options for Cape Breton, the Strait region, and for all Nova Scotians. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colin. I gotta say the welcome's been very warm, both literally and figuratively. But it's a pleasure to be here. I gotta say this region is very well represented, both with Kyle and also with Minister Boudrot. I know Minister Boudrot would have loved to be here today, but he's also in Halifax. He's as a minister busy too, and he's in Halifax doing an announcement, I guess, at the same time as we're doing this one. So we'll have more news there as well. Now to tell you a little bit more about the project here on Reeve Street, please help me welcome Jeremy Carroll, who is the Director of DC Developments, to the podium.
Morning, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for being here. I want to begin with expressing my deepest gratitude to the province of Nova Scotia for their continued support and commitment to affordable housing in our region. Today marks more than just a funding announcement. It represents a milestone of our collective effort to create stronger, healthier communities across rural Nova Scotia. The investment made by the province in this project is more than just dollars and cents. It's a statement that people in the Strait area matter, that rural voices can be heard, and that affordable housing is their priority. To my team at Brela Homes and to every subcontractor that has put in the hours, early mornings, late nights, and everything in between, I'd like to thank you. This project wouldn't be here today without your expertise, your grit, and your dedication to building something lasting for our communities. Affordable housing is the foundation that allows people to stay, grow, and thrive where we live. In the Strait area and throughout rural Nova Scotia, we know that without housing, we cannot support the people that already are in our own backyard, let alone welcome new families, attract skilled talent, and harness economic opportunities in front of us. Whether it's wind energy, hydrogen, or many emerging industries knocking at our door, we can only grow if our communities can house the people who will power them. This project is just one step, but it is an important one. And with the continued collaboration and investment, we can continue to build a future that keeps people here and brings even more home. Thank you again to the province of Nova Scotia. Thank you to Richmond County, the town of Port Hawkesbury, Inverness County, everyone's collaboration for bringing this vision to a reality. And thank you to everybody who had a hand bringing this to life. Let's keep building. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. And as I've said before, there's no one government, there's no one department, there's no one organization that can move the needle on housing. It takes partners. It takes partners like Jeremy and his team. It takes partners like our subcontractors. It takes other levels of government like our municipalities and the federal government to come to the table and share the vision of continuing to move the needle in the right direction on delivering our promise of building more housing for Nova Scotians and even faster. So thank you, Jeremy. Now I want to invite Heidi Bennett, one of our wonderful partners as well at the Nova Scotia Housing Trust, to give us an update on some of the work that they've been doing to help us through the Housing for Healthcare program. In fact, we'll be joining Heidi after this to meet some of the residents and visit the modular housing units that they're managing as part of this program. So Heidi, it's yours.
Try to bring the screen instead of paper.
Smart. Can't blow away that.
Right? I don't know if I'll be able to read it all because it's dark. I'm gonna put my glasses on. Thank you, Mr. LeBlanc. And thank you, Jeremy. This is amazing. This is awesome. Love to see it. I celebrate you on that. My name is Heidi Bennett. I'm the housing advisor of the Housing Trust of Nova Scotia. It's truly a beautiful day to be here in Port Hawkesbury, a place not just where people can work and play, but a place focused on where people can live too. I am so grateful to be here, and thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Mr. LeBlanc, for being here with us today. The board and team of the Housing Trust of Nova Scotia think of the province as a partner in its true sense, so it's a privilege standing here with you. We collectively acknowledge the housing needs of communities are diverse, and so are the solutions. Our belief that the community housing sector has a much greater role to play in ensuring that Nova Scotia has a housing market that meets a range of needs, and Minister, some of the work your team is doing behind the scenes is effortless, endless, and it does not go unnoticed. And it's going to accelerate the capacity of the community housing sector to step into that role. Thank you for the government's continued support. Other provincial initiatives are having an impact on supply, yet the more persistent challenge presented to Nova Scotians may be affordability. My previous life in the private and for-profit sector, I saw firsthand the mounting issues caused by the lack of affordable housing and what we were constructing, which was more for profit. In the community housing sector, it's best positioned to offer affordability in the long term. In 2024, the province approached us to partner on 4 Port Hawkesbury units here. These units were a small step forward in support of closing a gap between the local housing demand and available supply of 235 new units needed by 2027. The partnership has also paved the way for the housing that I understand and can be referred to as a game changer with healthcare professionals and rural communities facing a lack of housing, long commutes, and isolation. Port Hawkesbury is one of the many modular housing for healthcare communities, which in partnership we are building throughout Nova Scotia. though both communities are fully occupied, we're turning applicants away daily. So still so much work to do. The Housing for Healthcare program provides housing to address the shortage we know that some rural communities may face in attracting and retaining healthcare professionals. The Housing Trust's mission and its mixed income model can also address the affordability concerns of households with income earners representing a range of occupations that are each crucial and vital to the provision of healthcare in Port Hawkesbury and the surrounding community. The Housing Trust of Nova Scotia's mission is to provide housing for low and moderate income working households, although certainly our residents are diverse in housing as we acquired from the private sector. We see in the implementation of the mixed income model as a means for us to play a key role in addressing housing needs here and across the province, now and into the future. In that model, rents are aligned with household incomes up to market so that Housing Trust can meet operational costs, maintain the quality of housing, and grow. Just so happens that the mixed income communities are understood to offer and create the vitality that we all look for where we live. It's important to understand that every applicant for housing can show up with unique circumstances, income being one of the biggest factors. As part of the Housing Trust guiding principles, our endeavors to have all household rents aligned with that generally accepted affordability measure of 30% of the combined household income not exceeding market rent in the respective communities. Whether you are a doctor or an LPN moving to the community or seeking housing, the Housing for Healthcare initiative gives you the opportunity to work, play, live, and make this your long life community. Though our work in the Housing for Healthcare community creates new housing, it's vitally as important that we also preserve existing affordable housing across province, rural and urban. The Housing Trust of Nova Scotia is proud advocate and instrumental in the now and future of sustainable affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Heidi. Again, I think we can all agree that this is fantastic news for the Strait region and will certainly improve access to affordable housing. That concludes the formal part of our event. I'd like to invite our guests to gather for a quick photo or two. And of course, we're happy to always answer some questions from friends with the media. Once we're finished here, we'll head over to Cardell Estates, where we'll be welcoming some residents to their new homes as part of the Housing for Healthcare program. Again, I want to thank Kyle for being here and, of course, delivering the great news for this region, along with our partners at DC Developments, the Nova Scotia Housing Trust. And each of these projects are really helping improve the affordability of housing here on Cape Breton Island. So thank you so much. Stay cool today. Enjoy the sunshine. And again, thanks for being here.
Brenda, what does this announcement mean for the town's efforts to try to get more housing stock and get more affordable housing, especially for residents and others who might be looking to come to the community?
Well, it's certainly a wonderful announcement, and I can safely say on behalf of myself and all of the Port Hawkesbury Town Council, this has been a huge priority for our town for the last several terms. And just to see projects like this break ground is absolutely fantastic. And it's great to know that all of the efforts to attract new development to the town is paying off. And we're so grateful to Jeremy, Carol, and Brella Homes for seeing the potential in Port Hawkesbury to invest. We are for a small town, we service such a tremendous number of people, and I get calls daily asking if there's any available housing, if there's any apartments. So I know that there is a huge need, and for people when we live in a great town. Port Hawkesbury is a great, walkable, accessible town. We're close to everything. So, and we're in the #1 island in North America. So you can't beat that. So we're really, really happy to be here present for this announcement today. Housing is a huge opportunity for Port Hawkesbury. There's so many people who want to be here, and I think that's wonderful. It's the best problem to have. And we look forward to continuing to work with Jeremy and the province of Nova Scotia to continue to move that needle. We do still have a need to fill more housing all across the housing spectrum, from student housing, and I saw that Vivek is here representing NSCC. He knows that there's an acute need for housing so that they can grow their campus as well. Anything from low income and affordable housing, but we also need market housing. We need housing all across the housing spectrum. And even the Tanya Felix from the Chamber of Commerce is represented here. Housing is a huge priority for them. And also wearing my hat as a business owner as well as the mayor of Port Hawkesbury, it's hard to attract and retain workforce, when, there is a struggle or not as available housing, whether it's apartments or actual houses. So it's such a wonderful day to celebrate this news for sure.
It's one thing to talk about student housing, and of course, this particular development, just a hop, skip, and a jump from the NSCC Straight Area campus, but some attention being put today on the housing developments that the province is promoting for doctors, for medical professionals, and it seems there's been a bit of a success story here in Port Hawkesbury to the effect that the homes that have been built for medical professionals now have a waiting list. What are your thoughts on not only being able to help in housing, but being able to help in healthcare locally as well?
I think it's wonderful that we've been able to move that needle as well. And the town of Port Hawkesbury has had a long partnership with the county of the municipality of Richmond. And Richmond County and the town have made healthcare and recruitment and retention such a huge priority for both of our municipalities. And it's nice to see that, we are able to approach some of those challenges head on, and housing is definitely one of those challenges. So being able to take the opportunity to have units for whether it's locum, medical healthcare professionals, or whether it's just a temporary place and while they're looking for their permanent home, it's great because that is part of the housing spectrum, and a need that we also need to fill in the Strait region. So it's absolutely fantastic. And the fact that it's oversubscribed means there's room for growth. So let's get some, like Jeremy Carroll said, let's keep building, let's get going, let's create more housing opportunities, whether it's healthcare or for medical healthcare professionals, whether it's for students, whether it's for working families, whether it's for seniors. Like I said, all across the housing spectrum. And this particular instance where they're providing affordable units, I think is fantastic. It just creates a much more inclusive environment for housing in Port Hawkesbury.
One thing I was wondering too, does this also complement your efforts to build up the active transportation infrastructure into town? I know this is a little bit outside of the town, but the fact that it's accessible, to NSCC and to other parts of the town,
Yes. 100%. Another priority for the town of Port Hawkesbury has been around accessibility and connection and connectivity. So we have grown our active transportation network over the last couple of terms. Having the Brella development, and it is just kind of on the cusp of the entryway to Port Hawkesbury. And it is very close to NSCC, but that is part of the opportunity we need to continue to explore. Want to make sure as this development continues to grow, want to make sure that it's connected to the town as well. So that is definitely something that will be in the works.
Does an announcement like the one today, even though it's one part in a real network, including the Chamber of Commerce, the town, the county, the various developers, but does an announcement like this one today add credibility to the town and to the various players to be able to go to a developer and say, look, we're not just talking about affordable housing, it's actually happening. There's physical proof that it's happening. So what does it mean in that regard?
It definitely lends evidence to the fact that, this isn't just lip service. This isn't just, hey, we're passionate about housing. We really want, to create more opportunity around housing. This is great. And we know that when you look at other surrounding municipalities, being able to tackle housing challenges and opportunities, it's not something that can be done overnight. It takes a tremendous amount of effort. And like you mentioned, it takes bringing a lot of different players around the table. In the spirit of collaboration to make it happen. So this announcement is proof that, you know, all the efforts are working. Are we all the way there? Absolutely not. We still have much more work to do, but it absolutely does give us a tangible example to show other developers to say, hey, you know, Port Hawkesbury is a great place to invest. There's absolutely a need, and whether, you know, you could look at the housing spectrum, put it on a wall and throw a dart. We can use that kind of housing in Port Hawkesbury because there's just such huge opportunity for it. I feel like today's announcement also shows evidence that we are serious about collaboration. Like, we want to work with the province, we want to work with our surrounding municipalities, you know, we want to work with the Chamber of Commerce and NSCC. So I think that we continue to move forward, and I think we're going to continue to have wonderful announcements like this in the future.
So, Lois, included in this announcement today is the Lennox Place development on Veterans Memorial Drive in Arichat. So maybe get your reaction to how this helps your attempts to build housing stock in the municipality of the County of Richmond.
Oh, hugely impactful. One of the realities is that we are a small municipality. So small numbers of people mean announcements for small number of units is hugely impactful. You build 10 units in HRM, and that may not seem like that's not even a drop in the bucket, but in a village like Arichat, 10 units of that caliber, that location, and at the price point they're talking about is really, really significant. So really grateful to the Sampsons for continuing. This is not their first build. My old elementary school is part of the Lennox units. And when I was campaigning, I actually got into all of the units, and they're really, really nice units. And gosh, the view that you're going to have at that old IGA building, really, really great. So couldn't be more pleased for this announcement.
You mentioned location just a moment ago. What do you think that location does in terms of alleviating affordable housing issues, but also why is it a good fit for that part of Arichat?
So it is always easier to build when you have water and sewer. So one of the realities that separates us from municipalities like Port Hawkesbury, where basically everything is on water and sewer, is that there are very few places on Almadam or in Richmond County in general that have current water and sewer infrastructure. So that means that developers have a fighting chance instead of having to invest in wells and having to invest in septic systems that require a different kind of maintenance. So that in and of itself is significant. The fact is you're across the street from a hardware store. You're not far from a Legion where they have breakfasts and dinners and social gatherings, and you're just up, down the hill from the grocery store. And you may not be within walking distance, but you're certainly a very short drive to the municipal office, the dentist's office, the doctor's office, the hospital, the nursing home, the church, right? So really, really significant in terms of proximity to locations. And again, we're a seafaring people for, don't mean to sort of overstate that, but right on the water, those places are going to have spectacular views, and it connects our residents. I remember when my dad went to the St. Anne's Center and he could look out and see the ocean, right? Come from fishing people. So it's really nice to see that connection to what we, how it all began.
Now, this is going to be an affordable housing piece, I assume.
Yeah, there's a certain number of units within the structure will be affordable. Yeah.
And that's not to be dismissed as well. You guys are not just looking for housing; it's to looking for affordable housing because rents have increased, housing prices have gone up a lot since COVID. So that's a big news too.
It is, because what it allows for, so there's multiple ways you can get to affordability. So one is that government comes in and supports developers and say, look, we'll give you a little bit of money if you'll agree to make these units affordable. The other way that happens is if developers build and they charge market rates, and residents can apply for rent supplements, which gives them a top up with their income to get them to market value rents. The problem with rent subs, although an amazing, excellent program, and we'd like to see it expanded for sure, is that program can come and go. That is the whim of government, and that's really subject to dollars. It also is a bit of a struggle for developers to get shovels in the ground if you're hoping that rent subs are going to be available down the road. So these kinds of investments are actually helping developers look at the bottom line and say, with this upfront investment, then it means that shovels are going to get in the ground with more confidence.
On that theme, Lois, we asked Brenda Chisholm-Beaton about this too. I'd like to ask you as well. What does it do for the credibility of Richmond County as a municipality wanting to develop more housing and affordable housing to have this kind of announcement today and to have physical proof that you can go to developers and say, we're not simply talking about affordable housing as a priority. There's physical proof there. People have moved in. Government and developers are coming on board. What does that do for your case?
Oh, I would argue that there are very few places across the province that are doing as much to promote development as we are here in Port Hawkesbury and Richmond. So, I can't speak for the town of Port Hawkesbury, but one of the things that our planning advisory committee is working on is a matrix of all the housing catalogs that are out there. CMHC, the new one that Cape Breton just put out, the housing design catalog. All those units, are there any zoning bylaws that mean you can't build those? And we want to move on that right away. And I'll give you a small example of that. There's a backyard suite program, and government will give you $40,000, up to $40,000, up to 50% of the cost of that backyard suite. There was a spot in Almadam. One of our zoning bylaws did not allow those backyard suites to be built if your lot was a certain size. We found out about that in April, and by the end of June, we had changed that. That is our commitment to the people in Richmond, and that we are going to leave no stone unturned. We are looking for every opportunity. And these homes are an example of that. I get up in the morning and these have to go by my house in order to get off from Brilla to these places. So I get to watch houses go by little old Pullman, right? So, we're here in what was nothing, 2 years ago? There are 28 plus 4 more up there already on their foundation. And they're pumping them out of Brilla. So, we're really pleased to see this. As I said, we're going to turn the Sampsons are going to turn the old IGA into 10 units. My elementary school is now 10 units, right? So you're seeing that kind of development. And I have said from the beginning that I really do believe Richmond punches above its weight where housing is concerned. And what we're happy to say is that if we invest in those small numbers, tens, we actually solve the housing crisis a lot faster.
No, and the thing is too, with this being for some of this housing for healthcare workers, some of these workers might be living in Port Hawkesbury, but it's conceivable they're probably working at straight Richmond, and some of the other the other tenants might be also working in Richmond County. So there's kind of a back and forth there.
Yeah, we are so intertwined with the town of Port Hawkesbury. There are probably, for everybody working in Richmond County's industrial park, so many of them are living in the town. I come and I swim at the pool in Port Hawkesbury, and people, it's Richmond County folks that are going to build these units here. There is such a connection between the town and our county. We really can't afford to say, no, I don't want you to build there, because listen, there isn't a single councillor in Richmond who can't tell you a story. Former students of mine who are homeless, by all accounts, using the definition of homeless. We have former residents, former students. We have seniors that do not have adequate housing. I don't care if they live in Arichat or Port Hawkesbury, so long as they're close to what matters to them, their families, build all over. The more we build in the town, the better it is for Richmond and vice versa.
Just to pick up on Jake's point about the healthcare workers, this is a summer where once again there are struggles at both the Straight Richmond in Evanston and St. Anne's Centre in Arichat. Keep the ERs open on a regular basis. Obviously, having homes for medical professionals in Port Hawkesbury doesn't erase all the problems, but does that bring some comfort given what's still going on at those areas?
Oh, 100%. So what we know is that we need to have housing for our healthcare workers. We need to work on all the partnerships. So we've had some challenges when a doctor, for example, comes, but his wife or her husband can't find work. All of those things that connect us to the between the municipalities is really, really helpful. So we are happy to see dollars go to pay for housing for healthcare workers because, again, we're small enough. We don't need 20 doctors to keep the St. Anne's Centre and the Straight Richmond Hospital open. We probably only need 1 or 2. We don't need 50 nurses the way they do in some other places. Probably need a handful. So when you talk about 4 units, it admittedly, that may sound like a small number if you're talking about Sydney or Halifax. But here, that is really significant. How many people do we need to keep our X-ray departments open? How many people would we need to run a CT scan if we could get one? Enough, but not as many as you would think. And 4 units is hugely impactful for those kinds of numbers.
Now, and going a little further too, we're talking about staffing ERs and staffing healthcare facilities, but it also helps in general with recruitment and retention of healthcare professionals as well.
Oh, absolutely. If you can talk to them about, look, we've got your back. We're working on ways to make sure that you are available here. But, to Jeremy's point, it's healthcare workers. It's all the skilled tradespeople that are going to make industry viable here. Industry, therefore, brings families here. We're talking about repairs to our arena. It's property taxes from new people and all of those kinds of dollars coming in that give us the ability to make repairs, necessary repairs or builds for whatever infrastructure we're talking about, which then in turn means more dollars, which means more enticing circumstances for people who want to come and live here.
Thank you for watching. Please tune in again to find out what we will be talking about on The Record.